Hello, and welcome to another Steel Divisional overview. And today we're taking a look at the 2nd Panzer Division, officially known as the Wiener Division, which makes me quite hungry for a hot dog, but they're pretty hot in terms of how bloody aggressive you can attack early on. This is your Blitzkrieg, quotation mark, German tank division. If you want to rush through the enemy lines like it's 1940 and you're going through some French countryside, this is a division for you, as you have very good, very powerful, elite mobile fast units that allows you to do a zippy, blitzkriegi warfare, and not too much of the crazy, bloated German heavy nonsense. So anyway, let's take a look at how this division actually is structured. So, support to air is pretty much just 4 slots. You've got lots of tanks, infantry, and recon, which are really the 3 main aspects of this division, especially recon. Recon tab is extremely bloody important. 36 activation points, pretty standard, and economy, 75 points in A phase, 115 B phase, and 110 in C phase. So it's really a big jump in B is where you can do your major breakthrough, and then C phase you're just kind of holding out a bit, hoping for the best. So let's take a look at the recon. You got a lot of recon options. So the main recon infantry you're going to be using is Spar troops. They mainly come in 250 runs. You can get them in A phase, B phase, as well as C phase. I don't know where to take the B phase runs, as they don't come with a half track, and the half track's pretty nice. You also got some 2-man recon squads in B, and same in C phase, but they come in 222s in C phase. And then for the rest of A phase, you got these 233s, which is pretty much an AT-18 on a Puma chassis. These are really good, especially the 2-star runs. I cannot stress how bloody good the 2-star runs are. And it seems a bit silly because it's very card inefficient taking this, and you still have 1-star veterancy on a 233 regular. But with 2 stars, this is an anti-tank gun killing machine. This is so good at knocking out 6-pounders, because what happens is, maybe you charge, a 6-pounder shoots at you, or a friendly nearby. The 6-pounder is spotted, 233 engages, and it's so bloody accurate and does a lot of damage that the 6-pounder is not fully stressed, but at least half stressed with one shot. And you can just knock out AT guns like that, easy peasy. Of course, longer range runs you're going to have difficulty with, but it's just such a good unit at knocking out those pesky AT guns. And AT guns are really your bane of existence during the initial A phase, as they're going to be stopping you from doing your light mobile warfare. I definitely recommend taking both of these 2-star cards. It seems a bit silly at first, but it definitely pays off. B phase, vehicle-wise, you got Pumas. You got 2-star or 1-star runs. I believe this is the only division that can get 1-star Pumas. You don't really want 1-star Pumas, you want 2-star Pumas. 2-star Pumas is where it is at, and the Puma's a Puma. Light, mobile, good at flanking. It's a Puma, they're pretty bloody nice. Then you got a recon tank, an actual recon tank, a Panzer 4J recon tank. This is pretty mediocre. I wouldn't really recommend it, because it's still a Panzer 4J, and as you can see, the turret rotation is really slow. Yes, it has recon optics, but it's just not really worth it, because it's not, you know, it's not. If it's a Panzer 4H, maybe, probably actually, but the J really lacks that fighting efficiency, as Shermans have stabilizers. Yeah, allow Shermans and Stuarts to get first shot on you insanely quickly, and with the Panzer 4J, you're not going to be able to fire back efficiently, because usually what happens is facing the wrong way, and then the Sherman pops around a corner and he blows you up, and you're taking like 90 seconds to turn your bloody turret. So I wouldn't really recommend the Panzer 4J recon tank, but I would recommend the meme itself, a Panther recon tank, because a 50-ton War Machine can act as forward reconnaissance. And if this was War Game, it would be stealthy, and when it shoots, it would not be able to be seen. But thankfully, this isn't War Game, and it's not a Yugoslavian DLC. It's a Panther recon tank. It's pretty much your Panther D with recon optics. This is pretty good, because it's not the best at spotting AT guns. Neither of these are really the best at spotting AT guns. You still want to be using infantry to do that, but just a little bit of extra sight advantage helps out quite a bit It's a pretty good unit to be by itself because it does have the recon optics, so it can spot infantry trying to sneak up in front of it, or maybe tanks at a distance. Yes, it's 300 points. It's 50 points more compared to a regular Panther D. But considering you make a nice 150 points a minute in B phase, this is only a 2-minute investment, which is pretty good. That's really quite fast to get a B phase Panther out. Most other German divisions, I think all of them really, that can get a Panther from B phase are 3 minutes to buy said Panther. Don't quote me out. Nonetheless, it's a Panther. It's also your only heavy tank in B phase, so you want it. It's definitely a must-have unit. It's pretty damn good. More Spar troops, more artillery in C phase, and then you got his 2-3 runs in C phase, which I wouldn't really recommend. There's some better choices later on that you can get, which pretty much feel the same thing, just about the recon optics. Infantry. You got a lot of infantry options, and they're all really quite nice. All your leaders are 2 stars. You got Panzer Grenadier Führers in A phase. In B phase, I believe you don't get any, and C phase you get some Pioneer Führers with the IG-18 on the back of a 251. Which is pretty nice. Your A phase Panzergrens are ones without Panzerfausts, which is a bit of a big deal, I'd say, as you can't be knocking out any enemy armor that do get close to you. But still, they're Panzergrenadiers and they have 1-star veterancy. But you do get Stern Pioneers in A phase, and by God, you get quite a lot of them. You got 2-star runs and 1-star runs, and even 2-star runs are very card efficient because they only pack of 3 compared to a pack of 4. So that's pretty worthwhile. And Stern Pioneers are such good units because they're a bit tankier compared to 2-man Flamethrower Squad. There's my Discord thing going off, I apologise. But they're really bloody good to have. It's just smoke, you can clear towns, you can clear forests. It gives you that close range infantry fighting advantage that you may need, especially against more like A-phase focus Allied divisions such as 6th Airborne 101st. It has good close range fighting capabilities, and it's really a nice thing about having these Stern Pioneers in A phase is compared to other Panzer divisions, you won't be able to have that ability to really fight well in towns. While 2nd Panzer, not a bloody issue. Your 9th Panzer does have the ability to get Stern Pioneers in A, but not in this capacity, by God. You get some MG42s in B phase. Not really worthwhile, as you got half tracks which pretty much fill the same role. Oh, you do get infantry leaders in B phase, I do apologise. They're Sturmführers. You have STGs. Yeah. And smoke and satchel charges. I completely forgot about you guys, I'm very sorry. B phase, we have Sturm Grenadiers, which are really the major gimmicky infantry unit for this division. As, well, when the game first came out, everyone, including me, were going, what the hell? If I'm looking at my watch correctly, this game's set in 1944. And there's no MP44s. I played Call of Duty 2. I know there's MP44s in Normandy. Well, 2nd Panzer finally brings out the MP44s. 10 of them. And they're really bloody good. They have 200 meter range compared to 100 meter range of SMGs. And they still dish out quite a bit of damage. 15 HE. Which is great, and an extra 100 meters is such a huge advantage as compared to like allied 100 meter shock infantry, such as like Pioneers, flamethrower troops, etc. Yeah, extra 100 meters allows you to get, you know, more firepower onto them before you can get into range, and even at 100 meters against those infantry, you're still going to do really bloody well. Also, some grenadiers have Panzerfausts, and you're going to run Panzerfaust as Panzerfausts are nice. Then it goes into C phase, and you got the options of Pioneers, Panzer Grenadiers, finally with some Panzerfaust, and of course Pioneer Führer that I mentioned earlier. So overall, the infantry tab is really nice. I'm going to show you what I do for my infantry loadout once you get to my actual division. I want to get into that a little bit more. So tanks, you got a lot of tanks. The cool thing is, you have Panzer IVs and A phase. I mean, all those allied divisions that have A phase Shermans, and you're like, oh god, all I have is some Panzer IIs and like a Pank 38 to hold me till B phase to get a Tiger. Not 2nd Panzer. 2nd Panzer, you got actual effective fighting tanks. And A phase Panzer IVs are great, as it's a bloody Panzer IV. You can deal pretty much every single allied armor in A phase apart from the Avra, but the Avra is such a, such an outlier unit, you don't really have to worry about it all too often. But yeah, Panzer Force in A phase are nice. You also got Panzer 3s in A phase too. These are actually pretty nice, even though the Panzer 3 H is what I consider pretty meh. With 2-star veterancy, they're not that bad. And having one of these guys around to support your Panzer 4H and a push is pretty good. As, the extra command helps out quite a bit. So, very nice A-phase tank lineup. Not a lot of tanks, but you got proper tanks instead of using French hand-me-down nonsense. You also got Command Panzer 4s in B-phase with 2-star veterancy, as well as the hero unit Ramsk, who definitely did things. I believe, if I recall, the Germans in this game have 3 hero units. Yeah, they're in Panzer 4s. Was it 2? I don't know. Nonetheless, this is quite a lot of Panzer 4 hero units. We also got some Stug 3Gs. I don't know right how you'd want to use them. Even, you don't really get many B-phase tanks. It's just these 2 B-phase Panzer 4Hs as your proper B-phase tanks. I mean, you got the Recon Tab with Pumas and a Panther. And if you really need it, the Panzer 4J Recon tank. So I don't really know why I'd want Stug 3G. C-phase is pretty nice, show. You got 2-star Panzer 4Hs. You got 1-star Panzer 4Js, which has a slow turret rotation. You can buy one Panzer 4J in miniature, which does make it a rather lucrative idea. I'm still not sold really on using Panzer 4Js, that turret rotation always bloody kills me. But it's nice that you can get one per minute. It's something that you can just buy like out of a click of your fingers and get on a battlefield to help reinforce an area. And then the rest is essentially Panthers. You got 2-star 2 BEF Panthers, as well as Panther A's. You really want to take the 2-star Panther A's. You really want to take them. They're good. They're solid. They are 2-star Panthers. And you get quite a lot of them. I used to have a pretty good heavy tank lineup. It's not as much compared to, say, other divisions, and it comes a bit later, but it's all 2-star veterancy. You can't really knock it out. Support. Support is pretty interesting. So we're going to talk about the oddball unit at the start. The Bogard 4, or pretty much the RC drone kill streak from Call of Duty Black Ops, the first run. It's a remote-controlled explosive robot that drives up to a place and goes kaboom. It's not really that good, unfortunately, because the kaboom that it does isn't really that big. I remember testing it, and I'd attack like an airborne rifle squad that's inside a building, and then it'd go kaboom, and it didn't kill the entire squad. So it's not exactly point efficient. Because you got to realize, you only have literally one shot with the Bogard 4, and it's cost you 40 points. So you want to be able to kill at least 40 points worth of stuff to make it worth your while to get, an efficient trade. And yeah, you're not really going to do that with the Bogard 4, unfortunately. I have seen people use it efficiently, where they manage to rush it down a road and hit a bunch of units before they unload, and then, stop them from, slowing them down from getting to the front line. But apart from that, I wouldn't really recommend the Bogard 4. And considering you only have 4 slots, you could definitely use something that has a bit more presence along the battlefield. Funny thing is that you get 3 in A, 3 in B, and 3 in C, so it's a very steady amount of Bogards if you really want 3 cards of Bogards. 2-star 223s, pretty good. Extra leader units, never hurt anyone. 250-8 in A phase, these are fantastic to help you with your A phase assaults. Just a little bit of extra fire support, and teamed up with the 233s, you will just destroy AT guns. Absolutely destroy them. You got the Modelliter Mun. It's a truck. It's a bigger truck, as it has 15,000 supply compared to your regular 10,000 supply. So you got a lot of bloody supply to supply your troops with. 2-star 232s, pretty nice stuff. More Modelliters. And B phase, you also have access to grills. 4 of them, 1-star veteran sheets. It's actually pretty decent. Not a big fan of the grill still, but it's definitely a worthwhile card nonetheless if you do like your grills. As well as 2-star Flampanzer half-tracks. 5 of them. I do love the Flampanzer half-tracks, so this is definitely a good card. You also got the 2-star half-track, autocannon half-track, which is also a really good card. They do come in C phase, but they're cheap. You can amass quite a decent amount of them and just break through and rush an area just to try to make a breakthrough, put some pressure somewhere else. A good fire support. You can't really go wrong with autocannons, especially for 2 stars and with only 35 points, and more modulators and the Boggart, of course. So pretty nice, healthy selection of support units. Anti-tank. It's all pretty basic. You got A-phase Panzer Shreks. They do come with 2-star veterancy, and they come in this nice little half-track with an AT gun, which is pretty nice. You also got A-phase Pack 40s, a 1-star, which are pretty good to help hold an area. I do think an A-phase Pack 40 is definitely a good call. B-phase got more Panzer Shreks, so they don't come in the awesome little half-track, they are a bit cheaper. More Pack 40s, and then just Yak Panzers galore to help bolster your tank forces. In B phase, you don't have a lot of proper tanks, quotation mark, to really use. It's not like where a lot of German tank divisions in B phase have Panzer 4s and maybe a Tiger here. You barely get Panzer 4s. You got some Pumas, you got the Panther, you got Recon, Panzer 4, etc. Maybe some Stugs if you're crazy. So the Panzer is definitely nice to help bolster your force. Anti-air, if it doesn't bug out, here we go. You got a bit of anti-air options. So you got this thing here, which is a flak training mill towed by a Gepard. Usually, I wouldn't say flak training mills are really. I've been kind of liking the Gepard a bit more now. I'm good. But when both of them come together in one package, it's not that bad. Especially when they have 2-star veterancy. As you can bring them up, unload it, and for one purchase you can have 1 flak gun, or you can unload the stationary flak gun in one area and move the Gepard to another, so you can have better coverage. And with 2-star veterancy, they're not that bad. A good lot of fire support. It's honestly a nice little combo. It's really great fun to have an AA piece come with your AA piece. It's like it's not really a buy one get one free deal, because they're still buying each one separately for really full price. I think the Gepard maybe is a bit cheaper, so don't quote me on that. But it's nice having that package deal. B phase, you got flank Verkelins, you got flak 37s, you got flak Verkelins on trucks, and C phase, and more mobile wagons. Some mobile wagons are nice, and flak 88s just in single cards. Yeah. Artillery. So the crazy thing is Panzer 2 off-map artillery. They only do a small off-map artillery barrage, but considering you have no other A-phase artillery pieces, you definitely want these Panzer 2s, as they're going to be one of your, along with the 233, one of your more effective ways to deal with anti-tank guns and emplacements, etc. And it's a Panzer 2, so it can act as a nice little support, like half-track, no, god damn it, tank. After that. And also has a bit of recon optics, because artillery observers do have high recon optics, which is also a nice little package still. I like to view it as that you're spending 55 points to get the Panzer 2 and 55 points for the artillery barrage. So it's, even though it's 110 points, which seems rather expensive for just a dinky little Panzer 2, you got the artillery to come along with it, so it's not a terrible deal. You got your pretty standard half-track, or mortar half-tracks, pretty standard Vesps, some Panzer 4 off-map artillery. You wouldn't really recommend it, as it's only 1 per card, pretty lackluster in artillery already. I don't really think you need it. And then C-phase Hummels with 2-star veterancy, which are definitely a good choice, as I'm not usually a big fan of the Hummel, but with 2-star veterancy, they are fantastic at picking off targets at a far distance, such as AT guns, because killing AT guns is pretty important for this division, as they're gonna keep slowing you down, and the Hummel's great at shooting AT guns. Just loves shooting AT guns. Hummel writes to Santa every year. It's like, dear Santa, please give me more AT guns to shoot. Love, Hummel. That's what I believe it says anyway. Air tab. You don't really have a lot of air options, so you do get some cool ones. You got Fokker fighters and A and C phase. You got this thing, which did a JU-88. Yeah, it shoots, oh god, I forgot the bloody name of it. It's gonna come to me, and I'm just gonna edit it in the video with the name of it again. Butterfly bombs. Butterfly bombs. That's what they're bloody called. They're kind of like small little cluster bombs. Pretty good at dealing with infantry emplacements and stunning up an area. Bit expensive, maybe what it... no, it's actually pretty reasonably priced now I think about it. It's an alright bomber. It just doesn't really fit too well within this division. Even though you kind of want it. It'd be better if you had like more fighters or a lighter bomber in A phase instead of like a big Ju-88. But the Ju-88S isn't terrible. You do got the Fokker-Wulf Recon, which I believe is the fastest plane in game. This is the fastest plane in game. So you can outrun even those P-51 Mustangs and P-47s, which is lovely. What's not so lovely is you only got 2 machine guns. Just small caliber machine guns too. So, good luck shooting down planes. You can do it, but it will take you a while, and you're going to want the rate for the plane to be falling back before chasing it to try and get the kill. But it also has, as a recon plane, I mean that's what its main role is. It's a very useful unit. You can get 1 per minute in B phase, which is lovely, and it will definitely help you figure out where you'd want to push and where those pesky AT guns are. You also got the Fokker-Wulf Recon rocket plane, which is pairs really well with the recon plane, because once you spot the AT guns, you can use the rocket plane to blow them up. And the Fokker-Wulf rocket plane is lovely because you've got big ass rockets on the Fokker-Wulf. It's pretty fast still. 575 isn't too slow considering. And it also acts as a proper fighter, as it still has the 10HE rapid loadout. It's not the best fighter, of course, but it's a nice little mix. You'll pretty much spend an extra 50 points for the rockets. You do lose the speed and a bit of agility and whatnot. You got Fokker-Wulf G1 big bombers, which are alright, bit expensive for really what they are, and Ju-88Ss in C phase with ×2 per card. So that is all of the units. So, well, let's take a look at a division that I built earlier. Once again, the deck code is in the description below. This is what I would consider to be pretty good for 1v1/team games. Yes, divisional setup. But well, let's get into it. So A phase, Spar Troops, of course, and then 2 of the 233. So we got a nice amount of recon overall. B phase, we're taking 1 card of 2 Star Pumas, as well as Panther D, and then more Spar Troops in C phase, because I like being able to see the enemy, and usually my A phase Spar Troops die at that point. As we're going to be using Spar Troops a bit more aggressively in this division compared to others, because take a look at the infantry tab. It's a Panzer division, and we're only using 1 card of Panzer Grenadiers, which seems a bit sacrilegious. Even First SS use Volksdeutsche, which are essentially Panzer Grenadiers, just without the name and the worse morale. So we take the leader, 1 card of Panzer Grenadier, then 2 Sturm Pioneers in A phase, and then 2 Sturm Grenadiers in B phase. The reason being, is you really don't need Panzer Grenadiers, especially for a lineup such as this. Because the nice thing is that even though Sturm Pioneers and the Sturm Grenadiers have poorer range, they do more damage, which is nice, and they got smoke grenades, so you can smoke in front of you to allow you to get in closer. It requires more micro, of course, but it pays off much better later on. And also you are going to be absolutely fantastic in town fights, which is not what really a lot of Axis Panzer divisions can say, and that is a huge bonus, especially in A phase with all these Sturm Pioneers. You can really go to town, in a town, and just burn everything up and capture it easy peasy, especially with some of the light support vehicles. Yeah, you can get, all got half tracks. It's a very good infantry lineup. It just takes a bit of practice being able to use the smoke. Tanks, both of the A phase Panzer IV H's. Sometimes I take the Panzer III H, but I don't know, considering what else I take in the division, I feel like I don't need it. It would still a nice unit. I'm not dissing the Panzer III H in this at all. I have used it rather efficiently, though having 2 Panzer IV H's is much nicer, as they're much more effective. 1 B phase, 2 star Panzer IV, and then C phase we're just taking Panzer IV H's with 2 star, 1 Beth Panther, and 2 Panther A's. So we got 4 Panthers in total in this division, which I think is more than enough Panthers. You can, maybe in a team game, rather spamming tanks really heavily, you may want to take another card of Panthers. but I find usually 4 Panthers is more than enough, especially when all of them, apart from the recon one, has 2-star veterancy. Support, 233 for the extra command. One of the reasons I don't take the Panzer 3 is because I have this 223 in A phase to help out. The 250-8 for fire support. The B phase supply truck instead of the A phase run does mean that if we do take damage in A phase, such as an ammo rack hit or run out of ammo, God forbid, we're going to rate to a B phase, but it's a much safer bet, even though it does hinder us a bit early on. And then the autocannon half track. I was pretty concerned, not concerned, but conflicted whether to take this or the Flampanzer, but I just find it to be a bit better as it has the AP value, it's cheaper, and you can do some pretty cool stuff with this in the later game. Anti-tank, not really much to go off. Panzer tracks to help out with light armor, A phase Pack 40 to help hold an area, and then the B phase Panzer is for another tank in B phase to help out, because B phase is where we're gonna be wanting to make a major breakthrough. Anti-air, we're taking 2 of the buy 2 get 2 Flak 38 combo, as well as 1 card of Flak 37mm. Artillery, we're taking both Panzer 2s as they act as recon, nice little fire support, and the artillery is nice as well, I guess. Autocannon half tracks, not autocannon, mortar half tracks. I prefer over regular resps as they're cheaper. They kind of pretty much do the same thing, and even though it has worse range, I usually keep my artillery pretty close to the front line anyway, so I'd much rather have the mortar half track, which also has less travel time with the artillery because it's shooting closer. And then the Hummel for my big problems. Airplanes, 1 JO88 and A phase. I don't really use it all that much, to be honest, because it is rather expensive. It's much more, it's something you really get in B phase. And even then, I don't really use it that much, so I'd rather invest in tanks and artillery. I mean, maybe if you feel like you want extra fighters, take A or C phase Focke-Wulf fighters, if you really feel like you need to, but I haven't run into that issue yet, so I just stick with the JU-88S. Maybe take another tank if you want, but I don't feel this is a super important unit. Yeah, it can be good in like bombing an area and then pushing through afterwards, but for 200 points, and usually I find this gets shot down by Tempest or P-47s, it's a bit hit or miss. I'm still pretty conflicted on this. Focke-Wulf recon plane and Focke-Wulf rocket planes are really your 2 major planes that you want to be using. So overall, the pros of this deck, you got so much goddamn veterancy, like ridiculous amount. The only ground units in this division that don't have at least 1-star veterancy are the Stug 3Gs, which I'm going to consider infantry division tanks supporting the Panzer division historically. The Boggart, which is a remote-controlled vehicle, and then the supply trucks, because they're supply trucks. Apart from that, everything ground unit rise has at least 1-star veterancy, and most of the planes as well. So you're doing pretty good with veterancy. This is one of the most highly vetted divisions in game, I'd say. The B phase economy is lovely, absolutely lovely. You got so much money in B phase just to push an attack and really do your damage, and a good amount of units to help you out as well. And also, this is a great division at mobile, close-range warfare. Dipping out of forest for Pumas, using your 233s, light vehicles, Panzer 2, Storm Pioneers, Storm Grenadiers. If you meant to getting close with the enemy, you're going to do a lot of damage. And this is where this division really excels at. Is you can really put on the pressure and keep mobile with 2nd Panzer, which is lovely. Now, the cons of this division, the 2 major ones, I'd say, is the first one is your poor C phase economy. It's not terrible considering how much money you're making in B phase, but you definitely do slow down a bit. If you don't manage to get the ball rolling in B phase, you're going to have a harder time getting that ball rolling to do any aggression into C phase, as your Panthers are going to take 3 minutes to save up for, and a lot of your units are at least going to be 2-minute savings to be able to afford it. And also you have a lower unit number compared to most other Axis divisions, even though everything is really nice veterancy, and that is the counter rate to this argument. you can't really be affording to throw away units. You need to keep your Pumas, your 233s, your A-Phase Panzer IVs alive, because you don't have as much reserves compared to like Troph Panzer or Panzer Lehr or First SS, for example. You want to try and be more conservative with your units' lives compared to other divisions, but at the same time you still want to be aggressive and making good trades and killing units so you can push up. Overall, 2nd Panzer is a really powerful division. It's fast, it's mobile, it can work really bloody well if you know how to do those things, if you know how to be mobile and put pressure on enemy weak points. So well, let's see how 2nd Panzer performs within a match. Alright, and we are back. This is a 1v1 on Mount Ormel, and this replay was sent in by Mickey, and he's playing as 2nd Panzer Division, and he will be fighting against Jagdschorsch, who is playing as Guard Armored. So this is a pretty even matchup, both pretty heavily armored divisions. And so, if we take a look at Mickey's deck, a few changes here and there, a little less artillery, a little less anti-air, more focus on the Panzer IVJs, a little less on recon, and a bit more in the anti-tank department. He also has 5 Panthers compared to my deck, which only had 4 of them, but overall it's still pretty samey. I mean, I'm not a big fan of taking the Panzer IV recon or the Panzer IVJs, but different strokes for different blokes. And so, well, let's just get this replay on the remount. Ormel is a pretty good map for 2nd Panzer, as it has a lot of sightline blockers, a lot of areas where you can really take advantage of your light tanks and do some mobile warfare, especially if you push along your left here. It's a bit dangerous getting into the open, but if you can nab this tree line, you're pretty much good to go. And same with the right. If you manage to get to the base of the hill at least, you can usually hold out pretty well. And it's decent fighting all around. It's good ground. It's good ground. So both sides are going to be going pretty heavy for the central forest, which makes quite a lot of sense, as this is really like the major key state of this map. Is if you can hold this forest, you can pretty much push left and right pretty easily, especially right. If you manage to be blue for, push all the way down here, get an ET gun here, you can pretty much cut off this entire sector. So Mickey's going to be sending 1 Stern Pioneer and 1 regular Panzer Grenadier up into the middle, while the Jagd is bringing in pretty much everything: Guard Armored, Humbers, motorized rifles, Stuart, etc. 223 going to be jumping in and gets a kill on the Jeep, and the Stern Pioneer is going to be able to get in. Now, for Mickey, he needs to get his Stern Pioneers close within 100 meters. If he's a pop of smoke here and maybe just rush through, he'd be able to get in, but the Panic Grenadiers and half-tracks are going to be covering him. He is going to be doing, managed to get some flame off, but he's going to be doing this rest of the 2-5 run, and it's a little bit presumptuous, as he's just going to run right into the Stuart. Maybe if he read a little bit to get some extra suppression on some units, he could have, got some good surrenders, but the Humber over here just gets completely annihilated by the Panzer IIIH. Left-hand side does have his Panzer IV, but it's completely alone and unsupported. Or it does have a Spar Troop here, but it's not enough to really make a push. I wouldn't want to risk it with that Panzer IV, so he's just sitting there doing nothing. Right inside the Spar Troops defending. He does lose the Stern Pioneer, as it's a little bit too many motorized rifles. You really can't mess with that amount of British infantry, as the British infantry usually have 2-shot machine guns, which means they're pretty decent in CQC. Panzer Grenadier is going to get pinned down, and yeah, this is not looking too good. We've got a little bit of a push here, the 250, but not really going to go well. Panzer IV going to be engaging the Stuart, and he should get the kill. I'd be rather surprised if he doesn't. We can actually even get surrender here of the 250, so he's definitely going to get the Stuart. Yeah, he goes. So he's meant to put a little bit of pressure on left, but he definitely needs some more. He definitely needs an infantry squad over here. He sends in the Spar Troop just to try to reclaim some territory. Moving the Panzer III into his forest was definitely not a good idea. Not a good idea at all. Especially against Guard Armored, who has all these bloody motorized rifles. Only 1 motorized rifle at the moment. But nonetheless, It's a little bit dangerous for Panzer III to be in that forest unsupported. Stuart coming around the corner. And because his weapon's jammed, he's not going to be able to do anything. And this is a really good pursuit from Jagdschutz. This isn't exactly the best 2nd Panzer A phase play. Jagdschutz is doing pretty damn good, keeping on the pressure. Mickey is getting stern pioneers, yo. Problem is, he needs some anti-tank to deal with his half-tracks, as the stern pioneers aren't suitable for that. Like, he has to get... He can't... His Panzer Grenadiers doesn't have Panzer Faust, which is a pretty big deal, so he's going to need Panzer Schrecks instead. And his Panzer Schrecks should be pretty good in this forest if he manages to get in. He's going to be able to do that. He unloads. And trade off with Stuart, not going to go too well. Even though you have veterancy advantage, which is one of the nice things about the 2nd Panzer, you usually have veterancy advantage in most situations. And they're a head-on fight, not the best move for the 250-10. Panzer Schreck managed to get a good snipe here, and the stern pioneer is going to move up. It's a lot of British infantry, but the stern pioneers are usually pretty good at sternming. Your one stern pioneer is exposed to the Stuart, which is not going to be good. You definitely want to be careful when using... He does use smoker, which is a very good call. You definitely want to be careful when using any 100 meter range infantry, as you want to make sure that there's no way that you can be seen outside your like 100 meter bubble, because you see stuff like that Stuart, for example, happens. But it's just a little bit too much British infantry. And also taking a few of those hits from the Stuart, yeah, did not help him. But he's trying to put on pressure, not managed to knock out the 6-pounder on the left-hand side. And his Panzer IV here, I was going to say, would be the king of this sector, but there's a Cromwell of 11 armor coming up. You know, the Panzer IV does have a pretty good fighting chance against a Cromwell. Actually, I believe it's actually a fairly even matchup between both. Yeah, it is, in terms of armor and AP values. Now we're seeing the 233 being brought in. And he is bringing it into the centre. It's a very dangerous area to use vehicles such as this, especially such a high priority vehicle. As you want this to stay alive to try and knock out AT guns. It's also good at knocking out infantry, of course, because it has a pretty decent high explosive cannon. And Mickey, yeah, he still does have stern pioneers in his deck. He still has like 3 more left after this one. So he's doing pretty good. In B phase, of course, stern grenadiers. And stern grenadiers are going to be very useful, as he also needs the high explosive capability to knock out his bloody half-tracks. But he's going to rush the stern pioneer in, gets piated, and pinned down, which isn't good. Not good at all for Mickey. And on the left-hand side, Panzer IV is engaging pretty well with the Cromwell. And this is what I mean about the A-phase Panzer IV. Even though it's just a Panzer IV, and you know, it's not an unkillable vehicle, even in A-phase, there's still a lot of 11 AP weaponry the Allies can get, so 6-pounder Shermans, 75mm Cromwell. It's still really useful, because usually, if you're playing Allies, you're not expecting to fight such a heavily armed vehicle so early on. So it really just throws off your mojo a bit, I find, when using the A-phase Panzer IVs, and heck, even Panzer IIIs. And the veterancy never hurts. Yo, it's a +2 point advantage, or +3 now to Jagdschutz, is definitely hurting Mickey. It's quite ironic, because I was saying that the 2nd Panzer really is quite the king of like his close range fights, but without any proper infantry in this forest, the vehicles are just going to make his stern pioneers pretty useless. 233 was in a nasty position. A bit too ballsy. He really sort of pulled you out back a bit and rated for some infantry to try and reinforce. But he's bringing up another stern pioneer. That's bad micro. That's really bad micro. Losing it like that. Panzer IV did. Oh, oof. He's gonna lose our Panzer IV, and I believe he lost Panzer IV left. So it's really not looking good for Mickey. You're out to B phase. And this is where things start to get pretty nice, as you got the rather huge point advantage. But he lost both his A-phase Panzer IVs, the 233. He's lost a lot of his stern pioneers. He probably only has like a few left at this point. So it's not looking too great. And Jagdshorst has managed to build up a rather nasty armoured lineup. He has 4 Stuarts on the field, as well as a Cromwell. And those Stuarts against second are still pretty damn good, especially on a map such as this. Is there enough to deal with the Pumas and light armoured vehicles? And a Panzer is not going to save him in this forest. Yo, Flampanzers, mate. Flampanzers are always a pretty decent choice. They are going to be coming up. But the Stun Grenadiers out in the open does use the smoke. This is how you use smoke here. You see Mickey, even though his infantry is getting beaten back, he is using a lot of bloody smoke, and that is saving his ass. You just use smoke, ladies and gentlemen. It's one of the key strategies of this game. Just smoke everything. Or burn everything. I see the Flampanzers just making a path of distraction along the middle, as they're just going downtown. The problem with Flampanzers, compared to autocannon half-track, so you can't get the autocannon half-track till C phase, is if there's enemy armor, such as this Humber, can't really do anything about it. Or Stuart, which is about to clog the gap. The Flampanzer's coming in, gonna just burn the rifle squad. Here he goes. Bit of Flampanzers. Gotta love him. The Humber's gonna come in. He's going to get some shots off, and that's such a close range. An internal fire on a flamethrower vehicle, I would never guess. And the second Flampanzer is going to fall back and right into the Stuart. So a little bit risky. Left hand side is also not looking too good, as Jagd has managed to build up the Gauge Armoured Blob, which is when you just get all the bloody tanks and you just push. Maybe you could use another motorized rifle squad or 2 for Jagd to push up, but he's doing pretty bloody well. We are seeing Ramsk on the field. The 2-star Panzer IV. As you can see, just unit rise. Mickey does not have much on the field compared to Jagd. He's bringing up his second 2-star Panzer IV, as well as a Panzer IV Recon. Which, if he manages to get good trades with the Panzer IVs, he can start knocking out these tanks. You've got to realise, in a one-on-one fight, Stuart Panzer IV does take the victory. Problem is when there's more on run Stuart, and there's quite a lot of them. But if he manages to pick him off piecemeal, like this for example, there we go, it's kaboom, 2-star, doesn't miss. He's moving up another run. He's going to get another piecemeal kill, it seems. But see, it takes a long time for it to aim. Yeah, it's even a 2-times speed. Against a Cromwell, it's going to be a bit risky. Oh, kills a Cromwell, that's actually a pretty lucky, especially if the high morale. Yeah, same time it does a 2-star veteran sheet. Like a 2-star veteran sheet makes a huge difference. And if you had a leader unit, where you can't lead a unit, but imagine that being 3-star. 6-pound heal, gonna be a pain in the ass, gonna have to fall back because of it. Stuart in the middle gets killed, but there's still a lot of infantry, and the Stern Pioneers are just not enough. There's so many rifles in the forest. He definitely needs like some artillery fire support or Flampanzer to help out in that fight. But lagging out a little bit. There we go. Oh, I thought motorized rifle was going to sneak in, but they do not. But nice thing is, Mickey has managed to stabilize it a bit more now. He's only losing by a +2, and he has to catch up to quite a bit. But he's not doing all that bad. And we are seeing Mr. Harris here. The 250-10, not the best move to be moving it up without any ammunition at all. And oh god, why does it keep lagging? I do apologise. See more of those Flampanzers being brought in. Over here it should be pretty good. Except for the Sherman. That won't be good with the Sherman. If he can knock it out, he should be able to retake his forest. So he's just rusting the Sherman. Pulls off just in the nick of time. Flampanzer in the left, making some hand radio. It's just going to run to the 6-pounder. Stuart in the left gets knocked out, and this is very good trade with his Panzer IV. He hasn't lost run yet, and he's managed to knock out quite a lot of Stuart as well as the Cromwell, which is what he needed. He needed those efficient trades, and with 2nd Panzer you can get those efficient trades because you have the veterancy. And it makes those tank fights, you know, it makes them more tilted within your favour. Even though Yag does have a lot of units on the field and he still has very good positions. I mean, this left-hand position is rather hard to take back if there's some more defensive units here. I mean, you've got like 2 tree lines and a bunch of towns you have to fight for. He was being very ballsy attacking his 6-pounder head-on with the Panzer IV. Is this going to get enough fire rate? Just a second too later and he might have got killed by the 6-pounder to take the victory here. We are into C phase. This is when Mickey starts to run out a little bit of steam, as he only has 110 points compared to 130. You still get all the nice units, it's just you don't have the awesome economy to really keep those units sustained as much compared to other divisions. He's meant to knock out the AT guns, which is good, and he's just completely open the left-hand side, as Yanked has been very much focused in the middle. He's getting a Firefly and 2 Shermans. They really could have used one of those Shermans on the left. As Mickey is doing his Blitzkrieg. A Blitzkrieg 20 minutes late. That's, you know, you can do that at 2nd Panzer. Or AT gun coming right in the middle. Oh, very, very risky. Very risky. But if he meant to set it up like here or here, yeah, that's pretty good real estate. Pretty good fighting ground. And look, the Flam Panzer. Really, I gotta really commend Mickey for this Flam Panzer play. I mean, he's going to run to another Sherman, but he completely shut that entire force down. Unfortunately, Flam Panzer usually isn't good enough to suppress these tanks. Yeah, he's trying to do some micro air, but it didn't work out for him. Problem for Mickey is he's probably starting to run a little bit low on infantry. I mean, he's pretty much lost what his stern plane is at this point, I guess. And he only get like 8 Sturm Grenadiers in total, and I think Mickey's lost 1 or 2 so far, so he's had to be a bit conservative. Fortunately, Sturm Grenadiers are going to be perfect in this forest, because they got a little bit of extra range, which helps out. You only have to shoot across the road, and Panzerfausts. You don't realise how much you miss having Panzerfaust and Panzer Grenadiers until you don't have them, especially for Panzer Division. For 17th, it's not so bad not having Panzerfaust and your Panzer Grens, because you got the Stormtroops at least. But for 2nd, when your only A phase infantry AT is Panzer Shreks, I mean Panzer Shreks are great, but it's not as awesome as having pretty much every squad having a Panzerfaust. He does finally lose one of his Panzer IVs in the mid. You know, he's managed to get some really good trades already, so it's not a huge issue. As you see, the Sturm Grenadier absolutely doing God's work. Completely knocking out the Ranky squad. The Sherman in the middle being forced to retreat, and the 250 dash run has just broke through. And Mickey's managed to get a lovely +3 point advantage. And his Sturm Grenadiers are helping out a ton. I mean, if he can sneak his Sturm Grenadier into his forest, pop smoke. He needs to pop smoke. I don't think he's going to be able to. He could have knocked out, or if he managed to not get pinned down and move back into the forest, he can knock out Sherman and Mr. Harris. But see, there's good use of the half-tracks. This seems a bit ballsy, just rusting them up like that, but he managed to capture a lot of ground, and Mickey needs all the points that he can get right now. He needs to keep his +3 point advantage in. It doesn't seem too out of the question. I mean, he pretty much has this force completely shut off, and he's managing to pick off tanks piecemeal by piecemeal, which is how you beat Guards Armoured. You just can't allow him to get a massive tank blob. You gotta try to pick him off one by one, as it's kind of like a bundle of sticks. For a 2nd Panzer, that single stick, thanks to the veterancy, which I keep going on about, it's still a pretty nasty stick. Theodore Roosevelt would definitely use it to hit some people with it. Sherman does go down. And he's pretty much meant to capture the important choke point here. As once you hold this area on this map, you just put like a Panzer Shrek or Panzerfaust squad here. Anything comes down the road, kabloo, kablooey, kaboom. He's bringing the Jagdpanzer on the right. That should be enough to kill the Sherman. The Sherman doesn't have the best, it's pretty well hidden. The Jagdpanzer here, going to be engaged in the Jeep. Easy kill. And there goes Mr. Harris. I believe the Panzer IV got him. Yeah, tight shot. I just want to talk about how tight his shot was for a second. Because it didn't actually shoot through the apple orchard. It shot through the road at going through the apple orchard. That is tight as a tiger. But the Panzer IV does get killed by the sword. Oh wow. The sword is actually a pretty good unit, as you can tell. Woo. Oh boy. Well, I wasn't expecting that. I mean, this replay is meant to show off, you know, how to play second Panzer, but by God, that is how you sword, ladies and gentlemen. That was sword and excellent. Damn. You don't mess with the sword. You do not mess with the sword. He lost the Panzer IVs, but he managed to do that job, and he has a pretty good defensive position still. I mean, his rifle's going to come down the hill, but as you can see, they get completely shredded by the same grenadiers. And yeah, he's just using Panzer IVs. I mean, once again, he's using the Js. I really don't recommend the Js. I mean, he can get one per minute, which is nice, so he's meant to get a number of them out. But especially on a map like this, if his Panzer IV-J, for example, was facing this way, and a Sherman came down here, he would not get the first shot off. Even though he's, you know, the stationary target. And that's the risk that you have with Panzer IV-Js. Even if you're excellent at micro, because of how the auto-targeting system works, you may auto-target a unit over here, and then the Sherman comes up and it's like, ooh, got to turn all the way left now, and takes your bloody over. But you can get one per minute, which is nice. It's all risk-reward. Definitely could use an infantry squad to take his town arrows. That's really salted him. Just the Stone Grenadier, pop in here, pop the Sherman, and that would be pretty easy peasy. It'll make he's still running to get a +2 point advantage. And it's a little bit more comfortable for him now. I think if he was to go down to a +1, he still has a pretty good chance of winning. At least be a draw. The Sherman here, as you saw, managed to get first shot on the Panzer IV-J. And then it's going to force Mickey to force it fall back. I can actually speak English, which is usually pretty hard for me to do. And see, good use of smoke protecting his grenadiers after they've been rifled out a bit by the Cromwell. Or roughed up, I should say. Off-map artillery on the Sherman, going to be forcing it to fall back a bit. Jagdpanzer trying to get the kill. Using, I think that's the lowest Pioneer to assault the town. Panzer IV going to be coming in. But he's going to nab out town. That's going to be a bit of extra real estate for Mickey. More off-map being brought in as well. And there are even 2 of these off-map Panzer IIs. And this map are very good. As they call on the off-map. And they're still pretty useful because it's still a bloody autocannon in a close-range environment. They can do some pretty hefty work. More off-map being dropped in. Yeah, Mickey's doing really bloody well. I mean, the Source, he does have quite a few Shermans on the field. But he doesn't have them in a mass blob. He's more focused on protecting all of his flanks from a potential attack. As Mickey does have his men to put on the pressure. And we're just getting into the last minutes of this match, 7 minutes left. Still a little bit to go. But I see Mickey managed to pull this back around. Even though this was a good example of what you can do in a face 2nd Panzer Division play. As I've seen people just win in the first 10 minutes of 2nd Panzer. If you manage to get the good kills, good trades, and just use your Panzer IV and 2-2-3-3 effectively, you can just completely shut down an opponent's push, and then just get all the way into your spawn. It all depends, yo. Mickey has managed to bring us back around, and he just managed to get good trades, and that's what you're good with second Panzer. If you manage to keep your units alive, they will pay off absolutely well. And a bit of extra veterancy helps out quite a bit with just keeping them alive. And it's such a huge deal. Yeah, pretty much every single unit in this division, apart from a select few we mentioned earlier, have veterancy. It's just massive. Even just an extra 1 star on the basic half track helps out a ton in terms of just DPS and not being as suppressed when it gets shot at, or panicked, I should say. The Panzer 4J here. If this Sherman was to come around the corner, I know he's facing the right way, but look, if this Sherman was to come around the corner, he probably could get first shot on the Panzer 4J. But the Panzer 4 going to be falling back a bit. And yeah, Jagd is trying to do some personnel on the left. Just a lot of it too late at this point. The Panzer Strike, Panzer Strike gets knocked out. Two-man recon squad spotted him. Panzer 4 is going to be able to suppress these riflemen. Down there you go. Now he's even bringing in the Firefly. Sod finally goes down. And the Firefly does get killed by the Pak 40. Coleman coming in, knocks out the 17-pounder. Finally, Actors managing to make a breakthrough in middle wheel. It's too late. I mean, second Panzer's probably pretty out of Panzer 4s and infantry at this point. But it's so late into the match, so it's not even gonna matter. We got some of these 2-3-1s being brought in, but not really gonna help. And units on the left get killed, but it's like I said, too late. Only 10 seconds left. And that will be a good game. And Mickey does take the victory. And even though he actually didn't get as many kills compared to Jagd, Jagd did get quite a bit of kills at the end. I think that's what helped. Yeah, he got quite a few kills at the end. That definitely boosted his KD. I mean, Mickey managed to hold out strong. You see early on, like, Stuart did absolute God's work. I believe that was a Stuart in the middle, knocking out 3 of the Stern Pioneers. And that's a problem with, if you don't have your, you know, Panzer Strike in a forest area like that, you're just going to get ranked by one armoured vehicle. But looking here, yeah, the ramps, as you can see, very efficient killer. Knocking out Harris, just lots of tanks, infantry in general. This has definitely paid himself off and really helped bringing that match back. Same with the Alpha Panzer 4s, managing to knock out quite a bit, especially Mr. Joachim. The Flying Panzers as well, jeez. Jeez Louise. And just taking a look at history before we end this off. Yeah, well, pretty much a lot of the early losses were Mickey's. I mean, mentioned the upper half-track or rifle squad here, yeah. But he didn't manage to kill, he killed 1 Stuart 2 minutes in, but that's really it. It wasn't until, yeah, that's when he did the Flam Panzer rush. It really wasn't until halfway through B phase where managed to get those good trades, get those very good kills, very short amount of time knocking out all that armor. He managed to, I keep saying managed a lot, where he got to string the tables, turn the tables, you could say, and push hard. And as you saw, once he managed to knock out the enemy armor, he didn't just sit there and do nothing. He rushed through with half tracks. He grabbed all the land he can get with his light armored force, and then just held it for the rest of the match. And that's how you do second Panzer. And that's really it. That's all I have to say. And I'm gonna leave it off at this has been another Steel Division overview. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and as usual, please just take it easy.